Just now a boy came to you with a problem. You told him a few words and he went away. Was he helped, or was that help sufficient? Maharaj says, of course. Questioner says, how can you be so sure that whatever help you offered was sufficient? Maharaj says, to help is my nature. Questioner says, how did you come to know of it? Maharaj says, no need to know. It operates by itself. It's my swabhava. It operates by itself. Questioner says, still you have made a statement. On what is it based? Maharaj says, on what people tell me. But it is you who ask for proof. I do not need them. Setting things right lies in my very nature, which is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. The truth, the good, the beautiful. When there is chaos, the consciousness cannot rest. That is the time it tries to find order. It does not like too much chaos, too much disorder. That is the nature he's talking about. It is in my nature to undo the mess, to make that chaos peaceful, to remedify whatever is happening. That is the nature he's talking about. And you will experience in your Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana. If someday the waking projection is very chaotic, very messy, lots of arguments, big debates, major drama show, you'll be tossing and turning in bed trying to find a solution. You will not be able to sleep. The consciousness is not at rest till it really finds some equilibrium. It might not go completely to peace, but it wants a little balance. And it cannot do with too much negativity, too much disorder, too much chaos. And so it dreams of the solution. It dreams of peace. Have you gone to bed with a problem and woken up with a solution? That is the nature of consciousness. That is what he's talking about here. It's not the question of helping another. It's the question of disentangling an entangled ball of wool. That is the nature of consciousness. And it doesn't matter whether the entangled ball of wool is just me and mine or it is the others, because Maharaj is at that level. So any entanglement here, if the opportunity comes to him, he'll disentangle it. That is what he means by it is his nature. And it is your nature. He's showing it to you that it is your nature. It operates by itself. And that's how you have natural compassion well up. When you see somebody in trouble, some mess happening, you feel it. You see a child playing and he falls down, it feels as if it hurts here. Have you noticed it? In the middle of the road, you see a car accident, you feel you're in an accident. Do you recognize this? It is the nature of consciousness. Because there is a recognition of oneness. That is the nature. That's the true nature. So, when there is disorder, there is the natural tendency of consciousness to bring in order, to bring in harmony when there is disharmony, to bring in peace when there is chaos. This is your nature too. Homework for you. Do you recognize this? Do you recognize this nature of yours? So he said, still you have made a statement. On what is it based? On what people tell me. But it is you who ask for proofs. I do not need them. Setting things right lies in my very nature, which is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. The truth, the good, the beautiful. Again, truth here is reality. Shivam, it's the good, because being away from reality, being lost in this illusion of the world and the body mind in the world is not good. It creates sorrows. That way, being in the Satchidananda, being in the supreme reality, that is Shivam. That is why the word Shiva has been given to primordial awareness. Being away from the illusion makes good happen. That is the meaning of Shiva. And Sundaram, the beautiful. Yeah, the taste or the deliciousness, the ananda of being there. That is Sundaram. Questioner. When a man comes to you for advice and you give him advice, where from does it come and by what power does it help? Maharaj, his own being affects his mind and induces a response. Questioner says, and what is your role? In me, the man and his self have come together. Questioner says, why does not the self help the man without you? So Maharaj says, but I am the self. You imagine me as separate, hence your question. There is no my self and his self. There is the self, the only self of all. Misled by the diversity of names and shapes, minds and bodies, you imagine multiple selves. We both are the self, but you seem to be unconvinced. This talk of personal self and universal self is the learner's stage. Go beyond. Don't be stuck in duality. Your problem is you again come back to the body-mind person and you attempt to see the other as consciousness. How can you call that consciousness without seeing yourself as consciousness? So now when you come to the witness consciousness level, then now you look at me. What am I? I am in you. You and me are the same. The self. Consciousness itself is the experience. So if there is Ekta experience is equal to my consciousness. I am the self. Your problem is you're again jumping down to the body-mind person, coming to duality. From duality you will see duality, you will see multiplicity. But you come back up to the witness consciousness level and then you are in me. There is no you in fact. Very clear what Maharaj is saying here? But I am the self. You imagine me as separate. Hence your question. There is no myself and his self. There is the self. The only self of all. Misled by the diversity of names and shapes, minds and bodies, you imagine multiple selves. We both are the self. But you seem to be so unconvinced. This talk of personal self and universal self is the learner's stage. Go beyond. Don't be stuck in duality. Questioner says, okay, let us come back to the man in need of help. He comes to you. Maharaj says, if he comes, he is sure to get help because he was destined to get help. He came. There is nothing fanciful about it. I cannot help some and refuse others. All who come are helped, for such is the law. Only the shape of help varies according to the need. Questioner says, why must he come here to get advice? Can't he get it from within? He will not listen. His mind is turned outward. The Sanskrit word is bahirmukhi. He's turned outward. That is why he does not listen to the inner guru's voice. But in fact, all experience is in the mind. All experience is where? In the mind. And even his coming to me and getting help is all within himself. Instead of finding an answer within himself, he imagines an answer from without. When you come to one-on-one, what are you doing? You are imagining the answer is going to come from without. You are forgetting that Ekta is only within me. And you're thinking there is a without. And from there, the answer is coming. He imagines an answer from without. To me, there is no me, no man, and no giving. All this is merely a flicker in the mind. I am infinite peace and silence in which nothing appears. For all that appears disappears. Nobody comes for help, nobody offers help, nobody gets help. It is all but a display in consciousness. There is no retreat. There is no Advaita session. There is nothing happening. There is no Ekta. Nothing ever happened. Why? Because everything that is appearing is disappearing, appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. Some of you were here last year. We did the same retreat. It appeared, it disappeared. After it disappeared, was it there? It's not. It is not there. So that which appears and disappears has never happened only. Because there is no past. I don't have the proof of past in the now. Even the memory of the past retreat is where? In the now. So what is the only proof that I have? The now. There is no question of the past or the future. And anything that happens in the now gets erased by the now. In the gap, everything disappears, disappears, disappears. So if everything keeps getting disappeared, has it happened? Nothing ever happened. So it's just a flicker in the mind. You understand? A wave. A flicker in the mind. That's all. Questioner. Yet the power to help is there, and there is somebody or something that displays that power. Call it God or self or the universal mind. The name does not matter, but the fact does. Maharaj says, this is the stand of the body-mind. This is the stand that the body-mind takes. The pure mind sees things as they are, bubbles in consciousness. What word were we using? Waves. Maharaj is using the word bubbles. Yeah? Bubbles in consciousness. These bubbles are appearing, disappearing, and reappearing without having a real being. No particular cause can be ascribed to them, for each is caused by all and affects all. Each bubble is a body, and all these bodies are mine. It's just one waking projection. One waking projection has certain moving parts. I see them moving and I get mesmerized by the movement. I create an idea of cause, effect, cause, effect. Here he said very clearly, no particular cause can be ascribed to them. No particular cause. Just a bubble arising, disappearing, appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. It has no real being, means if it had a real being, it would not disappear. It would be permanent, straight line. But it is appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. It's not a straight line. So it does not have real being. It doesn't have a cause. Why it doesn't have a cause? Because it's affected by the all. What is the all? The consciousness which is projecting the waking moment right now. The waking now, the waking thought. So the consciousness is the all that is projecting it. So you cannot say there is a specific cause in the moving parts of the picture. No. There is only a source of it. There is no cause. Maharaj did this earlier. We've done this in the initial chapters. There is no cause of anything. There is only a source. What is the source? The consciousness. There is no logic here. Because you don't like the idea of no logic, what do? You try to create a story between the moving parts and cause, effect, cause, effect. Memory weaves a story. Truth, there is just a random arising, and that is the now. Again, the next now with a random arising. The two random arisings are not preceding or proceeding because there is no question of time here. There is a gap in between them. There is timelessness. The idea of time only belongs to that wave. In between the two waves, there is a gap. The timelessness breaks the idea of time. When timelessness breaks the idea of time, there is causelessness there. There is no question of cause and effect. Cause and effect would imply continuity. There is no continuity. The gap breaks the idea of causality. Each bubble is a body and all these bodies are mine. So, questioner says, do you mean to say that you have the power to do everything rightly? Maharaj says, there is no power as separate from me. It is inherent in my very true nature. Call it creativity. Out of a lump of gold, you may make many ornaments. Each will remain gold. Similarly, in whatever role I may appear and whatever function I may perform, I remain what I am. The I am, immovable, unshakable, independent. What you call the universe, nature, is my spontaneous creativity. Whatever happens, happens. But such is my nature that all ends in joy. Yeah, he's saying there is no power outside of me. I create this universe and I am the one who destroys it. It is all me only. In the end, even the destruction ends in joy. Everything is just joy. Just like a goldsmith makes different kinds of ornaments, but what is the stuff that the ornaments are made of? Gold. Only one. Like that only. I manifest this universe, the idea of gods, the idea of religions, the idea of humans that need to be helped, and the idea of saviors that come to help. All this is creativity. What is all this really made of? Consciousness, awareness, knowingness. That is the creativity here. Questioner. I have a case of a boy gone blind because his stupid mother fed him methyl alcohol. I am requesting you to help him. You are full of compassion and obviously eager to help. By what power can you help him? Maharaj says his case is registered in consciousness. It is there indelibly, means it cannot be removed. Consciousness will operate, means it will do what it needs to do automatically. So, questioner says, does it make any difference that I asked you for help? Maharaj says, your asking is part of the boy's blindness. Because he is blind, you ask. You have added nothing. Questioner says, but your help will be a new factor. Maharaj says, no. All is contained in the boy's blindness. All is in it. The mother, the boy, you and me and all else. It is one event. Do you understand where is he taking you? One single waking projection. The boy, the mother, that methyl alcohol, me coming into the picture, you asking me for help. All these are the moving parts of the same waking projection. Don't try to split them apart, he's saying. It is all one. Are you able to see the waking projection? There is only the whole. Just see the whole. moment to moment, take that step beyond. Away from the body mind, don't you see the whole now? It's very easy. The moment you come to the witness consciousness, you no more see it in parts. You no more see it as individual perception sensation. It's all the whole. And moment to moment, it's the whole now. The whole now. And it's moving. And it's moving. And it's moving. Yes, there is the entire projection. Now you don't really see it in parts. When do you jump down to parts? When you jump down to the body mind, and then you see that a single body mind, that is a single body mind, this is an object I like, this is an object I dislike, this situation I want, that I don't want. Like this, you start seeing the moving parts when you jump down here. When you're back up, then it's just one waking projection. Yes, all is a part of that. That is what Maharaj is taking you to. Start seeing it. Start seeing it. It's very clear. It's very clear. If it's not clear, where are you? At the body-mind level. You've taken the body thought. Immediately go back up. You mean to say that even our discussing the boy's case was predestined? Maharaj says, how else? All things contain their future. The boy appears in consciousness. I am beyond. I do not issue orders to consciousness. I know that it is in the nature of awareness to set things right. Please highlight. I know it is in the nature of awareness to set things right. Let consciousness look at after its creations. The boy's sorrow, your pity, my listening, and consciousness acting. All this is one single fact. Don't split it into components and then ask questions. It's one abstract painting. Don't give it name and form. One waking projection. Consciousness will take care of its creation. I got nothing to do with it. Not my problem. Can you become completely unconcerned? Completely unconcerned.
Not my family.
Not my family. Yes. There is no family. You have no idea if the kid is. You have no idea if the spouse is. Be with the now. In the now, there is just one arising, one arising, one arising. That's it. That is the only truth. Yeah? Drop all the stories, and you will see you were unnecessarily splitting that abstract painting into names and forms. Stop splitting it. Stop, quit. It's one waking projection born of desire. Predestined, so be it. What else can it be? From the hidden samskara, the desire arose, you cannot stop it. That desire automatically projected a mental picture projected a physical manifestation. That is the waking projection. It has many moving parts. Do not label the parts. Stay away. Not my problem. Consciousness will take care of its creation. Consciousness is nothing but the flow of this, no one waking projection after the other. Who am I to command? Now this desire should project and this should not project. How can I issue orders? Do you have that courage to see it? That is the meaning of consciousness taking care of its own creation. Its problem, not mine.
And it could be taking care of it in any way.
Yes, death, so be it. Murder, so be it. Dukkha, so be it. Poverty, so be it. Killed by an animal, torn apart to pieces, so be it. Self-realization, so be it. No realization. Absolute ignorance, so be it. Do you have that courage to say so be it for everything? Then you are not trying to give orders to the flow. What is, is. So he says, don't split it. All is one single fact, means one single waking projection. Don't split it into components and ask questions. Questioner, how strangely does your mind work? Maharaj says, you are strange, not me. I am normal. I am sane. I see things as they are, and therefore I am not afraid of them. But you are afraid of reality. Please highlight the entire line. Did you recognize you are afraid? Did you recognize that the world is out to harm you? Did you recognize that continuous undercurrent of fear that you have moment to moment? Maharaj is very straightforward. Yeah, doesn't have a filter. You are strange. Accept it. I am normal means you are abnormal. Yeah. I am sane means you are insane. See the hidden words. I see things as they are, and therefore I'm not afraid of them. So, this is your next degree of seeing to work on. Recognize. Right? Keep thinking everything is harmful. I'm afraid of it all.